The story of Manchester United and Ruben Amorim has always carried a special kind of intrigue. Few topics spark as much debate as United's ongoing struggles, whether it's about their loss of identity, their lack of self-awareness, or their constant failure to understand their true place and value in the modern game. For over a decade now, this cycle has dragged on, and with new owners stepping in, the process of rebuilding has only begun again. That's what happens behind the scenes. On the pitch, though, another revolution is unfolding, one led by Amorim's tactical convictions, and it's dividing opinions everywhere. Let's take a closer look at Manchester United through the lens of Ruben Amorim. First and foremost, there's the 3-4-3, the system that defined Amorim's rise, the one he seems destined to live or die with. When he arrived at United, it became immediately clear. The Portuguese coach would not bend to the club's existing DNA, nor would he tailor his football around what was already in place. Amorim wants United to play his way, under his rules, with his blueprint. Everything else must adapt. Of course, Amorim is not the only manager to have leaned on this structure. Antonio Conte and Thomas Tuchel both implemented 3-4-3 during their time at Chelsea. Go further back, and you'll find echoes of it in Italian football or in Johan Cruyff's philosophy of the 90s. Today, Xabi Alonso has his own version at Bayer Leverkusen. But here's the crucial difference. Those coaches adjusted their systems to the players they had. Conte and Tuchel, for instance, hadn't even favored 3-4-3 before Chelsea, and Conte abandoned it entirely at Napoli when his squad demanded something different. Alonso, too, has shifted away from it since moving to Real Madrid. Amorim, however, is the opposite. He imposes his vision from day one. Conte and Tuchel's 3-4-3 often leaned toward pragmatism, compact defense, quick transitions, safe football. Cruyff's version, or Alonso's more recently, was about asserting control of the midfield. Amorim's, completely different. His 3-4-3 is built for one thing only: attack. Attack to score goals, attack to win, attack as a form of defense in itself. His philosophy is simple. If his team can blitz the opponent early, grab a goal or two, then they dictate the game from a position of strength. But when that early breakthrough doesn't come, the cracks begin to show. The structure unravels, the gaps widen, and that's exactly what we've seen during his tenure so far. So now United find themselves staring at two possible solutions. Either scale back the attacking intent to tighten up those gaps, or double down and sharpen their firepower to outscore everyone. Unsurprisingly, Amorim has chosen the latter. In just the opening rounds of the Premier League, United have unleashed more shots than any other team, nearly 20 attempts per match, with around 5 on target. They play with incredible directness, moving the ball forward at speed, shooting from all angles, always looking to strike. The mission is clear: score goals. Yet the results haven't quite matched the intent. Their chance conversion rate is among the worst in the league. If you're looking for someone to blame, it's not really Amorim. His team is attacking relentlessly. The problem? The finishing has been woeful. That's why the Portuguese coach remains adamant. Once his players learn to execute properly and take their chances, victories will follow. As he puts it, every opponent can be beaten. Amorim's vision boils down to 3 pillars: rapid transitions, relentless pressure, and precise positioning. For transitions, he wants the ball moved forward instantly, whether through the middle with his central midfielders or out wide through the explosive pace of his wingbacks. The goal is to exploit the space behind defenders before they can reset. When it comes to pressure, Amorim demands a suffocating intensity. His players are told not to let the opposition breathe, to press high and win the ball back as quickly as possible. Unlike the traditional 3-4-3, which often prioritizes protecting the midfield, his approach is far more aggressive. His 2 central midfielders push up immediately to hound the man on the ball, creating turnovers that spark fast, lethal counterattacks. It has shades of Jurgen Klopp's philosophy, but the roles, the movements, the overall structure give Amorim's version a unique identity. And then there's positioning, the detail he obsesses over the most. Where each player stands, what role they serve, and how well they execute it. From the very first day in charge, Amorim made it clear: adaptation must happen immediately. If compromise is allowed, if players are not locked into their roles from the start, a year later, nothing will have changed. His goal isn't just to improve the team in vague terms, it's to drill the system, to hardwire discipline, to put every player exactly where they belong. That, so far, is the essence of Amorim's revolution at Old Trafford. Even when results wobble, his faith never does. He remains convinced that once those three elements click together, transition, pressure, positioning, the wins will come. In Amorim's blueprint, a standard 3-4-3 looks something like this. Starting from the goalkeeper, the three center-backs each take on distinct roles. When building out under pressure, the two wide center-backs split wide, while the central defender steps forward, often linking with a dropping midfielder. Meanwhile, the wing-backs push so high that they're almost level with the remaining central midfielder. The attacking midfielders, positioned in the half spaces, have two main options: drift out wide to overload the flanks during the build-up, or drop into pockets of space behind the press to receive the ball when opponents commit bodies forward. Defensively, the shape shifts into a 5-2-3, or sometimes a 5-2-2-1, ensuring that the midfield isn't overwhelmed. With 5 across the back, the team is equipped to withstand opponents who play positionally and target central channels, while also setting themselves up to counter into the spaces that open up during transitions. In a perfect world, Amorim's system requires two ball-playing wide center-backs, wing-backs with the stamina and pace to run the flanks endlessly while delivering pinpoint crosses, and midfielders who combine physicality with relentless work rate, pressing, and box-to-box movement. Manchester United's evolution under Amorim has been a case study in exactly that. At first, the system looked rigid: 3 defenders sitting deep, wing-backs often receiving the ball too low, the midfield hesitant to step forward. Now, the picture is different. Wing-backs push up almost alongside the front line during attacking phases. The wide center-backs are instructed to carry the ball forward and help with progression. Even the central midfielders have adapted. Take Casemiro, for instance. Initially, he stuck to his instinct of sitting deep to shield the defense, which even sparked a few on-pitch disagreements with Amorim. But over time, he and his midfield partner were both pushed higher, tasked with immediately engaging opponents as soon as United lost possession. By this summer, the transformation was clear. The players were finally executing the manager's vision. Watch them closely now, and their movements are almost a mirror image of what Amorim's sporting side once delivered in Lisbon. That's why the chatter about United sacking Amorim if results dip is baseless. His system is taking root, his fingerprints are everywhere, and the team is already beginning to look like a true reflection of their manager's philosophy. At this point, you might be asking yourself, if United are playing exactly the way Amorim wants, why are the results still so poor? And if their attacking stats are among the best in the league, doesn't that point to a deeper issue with personnel? From Amorim's perspective, the answer is clear. The players are following his blueprint, but the execution lacks intensity, and the finishing simply isn't there. The problem, in his eyes, is not the system, which means no structural changes, not even mid-game. The only tweaks come through substitutions, replacing a tired or ineffective player with a fresher option, without altering the shape or the game plan. Amorim believes that as long as his men commit fully to their roles, the wins will come. For him, the 3-4-3 is not the problem, it's the foundation, and he's not alone in that view. United have tried 4-3-3, they've tried 4-2-3-1, and none of it worked. So why not stick with something different? To Amorim, the real issue lies with the individuals on the pitch, not the numbers on the tactics board. If United's forwards were more ruthless in front of goal, the story would already look very different. But football is never that simple. It isn't a math problem with just 2 possible answers, right or wrong. When results falter, blame can swing between the manager and the players, and in truth, it often rests somewhere in between. The game is built on layers of perspectives, overlapping values, and competing interpretations. Through Amorim's lens, the picture looks one way. Through another, the story could be told in an entirely different light. One of the strangest paradoxes of Ruben Amorim's Manchester United is this. They have the lowest win rate in years, yet they often look their best against the strongest opponents. That tells us one thing. Rivals have already figured out how to crack Amorim's system. The problem is that United's style is consistent, almost predictable. For analysts and opponents alike, it's not too hard to study and find the formula to stop them. Every rival now understands that Amorim wants to build from the back by pushing one center-back higher up the pitch to create an overload on the wing. Instead of pressing high, teams sit deeper, staying compact in midfield. The two United midfielders are man-marked out of the game, forcing the ball into Bruno Fernandes. And when Bruno is dragged into a role that doesn't suit his natural instincts, it often leads to turnovers, starving United's forwards of supply. Unable to play through the middle, United are forced to funnel attacks wide. But here's the catch. Their wingers aren't tailor-made for this system. Opponents gladly push United into these areas, confident they can shut down the threat. That's why, despite taking plenty of shots, United's accuracy is poor. Most of their attempts come from low percentage positions or hopeful strikes. And then there's the Achilles heel, defending transitions. Amorim's 3-4-3 setup leaves gaps just behind the midfield line and in front of the defense. Opponents know it. They target that zone relentlessly. Bruno lacks the positional discipline, Casemiro no longer has the legs, and young talents like Mainoo can be dragged out of position. It's the perfect storm for a quick counter. Even the defensive structure brings its own paradox. Against big sides, the 5-2-3 shape gives United balance, preventing overloads. But against smaller teams, 5 at the back feels excessive. With only 2 men left in midfield, United are frequently outnumbered where it matters most. The bigger picture? Amorim's revolution at Old Trafford is still in its early stages, but the challenges are already obvious. His philosophy demands perfection, and when perfection isn't there, the cracks appear brutally quickly. United now stand at a crossroads, double down on Amorim's vision, trusting the players will adapt and refine the system, or admit that some fundamental mismatches need solving. Whatever the path, one thing is certain. Manchester United under Amorim will remain one of the most fascinating stories in world football.